I've always found you to be a very deep thinker. You think a lot and you choose your words carefully and ask a lot of good questions. And I'm always curious about the inputs, what you feed yourself in terms of information. And I've read that you're fond of a few books. This may have changed because this is from 2016, but Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, Robert Pirsig, The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. I don't know if you would still stand by those, but I'm curious, if so, why those books, and if there are any others that you would add to that list?
Where'd you get that list?
That is New York Times. Ev Williams' favorite books.html.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick those now.
It's been a while.
I'm not an executive anymore, so I mean, that's not as useful. Zen the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is great, but I will mention one book very related to the conversation, which is, have you read Why Greatness Cannot Be Planned?
No. Great title, though.
Why Greatness Cannot Be Planned. I recommend this to 100 people. Love this book. It's the subtitle is The Myth of the Objective. And the premise is by a guy named Ken Stanley and another guy who were AI researchers. And the way it starts out is this is early AI researchers. Ken worked at OpenAI later. They were building bots. And the example they talk about is trying to build a robot to go through a maze and how they've tried to program all kinds of smart algorithms into it. And then they found that the most effective strategy was just try something new. And they go on from that and extrapolate this idea that if you are trying to do something that hasn't been done before, we're taught from birth and from school and everywhere is like, set your goal, make a plan to get to the plan, persevere, go through that. And the premise of the book is that works if it's something that's been done a lot and that's formulaic. And you can set a goal to run a marathon and you can, download a training regime and you can go run the marathon and probably because you can't do that to invent the computer or Twitter or create amazing art. You can't plot it. And to the extent you try to plot it, you shoot yourself in the foot because you cut off the possibilities that lay before you. And I read this book when I was running Medium, my last company, and it had a great effect on me because I felt this deep sense of relief because my entire business and startup career, I've been deeply driven to create things. I saw companies and particularly products as a creative process. It's like writing a book or painting a painting. It's like you have to figure it out as you go. You don't have it fully baked in your head from day one. But what I've seen happen a million times and happened to me is you have this intuition, you kind of know what it is, you start to develop it, you're like, oh, it's this, not that, let's try this, not that. And you feel your way into what's the best first version of it. If you're lucky and good enough that first version, meets with some success in the world, then, at least in the tech world, employees and investors and business people come in and it's like, okay, where are we going next? What's the plan? What's the roadmap? How are we going to make the numbers go up? And it just doesn't work very far. It works like a little bit to get that next stage, but it doesn't work to really innovate. It doesn't work. And so you have to be comfortable with the ambiguity of not knowing where you're going to go. Anyway, this book is good and it makes this point. It's very short. It also talks about evolution a lot and how the most creative force in the world is clearly nature, and it has no plan. It just tries shit.
Yeah, trial and error.
Yeah.
All right, taking notes. That's going to be one of my next reads.